Hello friends, good morning. Today I have selected one poem for the students of Become Failure, that is All the World is a Stage by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, he was one of the famous dramatists and poets of 16th and 17th century. He wrote more than 36 dramas and sonnets. All his dramas and sonnets are very famous in the world. When we consider of his dramas, it includes tragedies, comedies, and also tragicomedies. Some names which are very mentionable, like his darkest tragedy, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, Julius Caesar, King Lear. These are the famous tragedies of Shakespeare. In the same way, his comedies and tragicomedies also are very famous. His dramas are being played even today with lot of interest, and they are studied all over the world with lot of interest. See, this poem, All the World is a Stage, is not a sonnet, but this is an extract from one of his famous comedies, As You Like It. This poem is an extract, or this poem is a monologue. Monologue means conversation of a man with himself. Character presented in the comedy As You Like It, Jax talks to himself. That is the poem All the World is a Stage. Shakespeare, for his lifetime, he wrote many plays, and near about all his plays, including tragedies and comedies, are in 5 acts. When he looks at the life with the same approach of dramas, he sees life, or he divides life into 7 stages, as his dramas are being divided into 5 acts and several scenes. In the same way, he divides life into 7 stages of one's life. He says life means the journey from birth to death. One has to perform various roles on the stage of life. You must have seen a movie Anand, where Rajesh Khanna and Amitabh Bachchan, their conversation is there. Rajesh Khanna says, बाबू मोशायर, हम सब इस रंगमंच की कठपुतलियां हैं जिनकी डोर ऊपर वाले की उंगली में बंधी है. कब कौन कैसे उठेगा किसी को कुछ नहीं पता. हा हा हा. And he laughs mysteriously. Mysterious in the way life itself is a mystery. Nobody can guess perfectly. Life should be of this kind, life should be of that kind. We don't know what exactly the life is, but still, as a dramatist, as an observer of life, Shakespeare divides one's life in 7 stages. He says from birth to death, one has to perform many roles. One has to become successful at every stage. And that is why he says, all the world is a stage, from birth to death. He says, see, all the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Men and women are merely players. Players means actors. Means we all people are acting on the stage of life. Not only hero and heroines we see in cinema and serials, but wherever we are, whatever we are doing, this is nothing but an acting of life. All of us are performing our own roles. So he says, everybody has to go through these 7 roles, 7 stages of life. See, all the world is a stage, and all men and women merely players. They have their exists and their entrances. Means their doors of coming and going, entry and exit, birth and death. These are fixed. And we have to complete journey from entrance to exit, birth to death. This journey is divided into 7 parts. He says, all the men and women, merely players, they have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his lifetime plays many parts. Yes, we have to play many parts. Sometimes we play a role of a child, sometimes of a schoolboy, sometimes of a soldier, sometimes of a father, sometimes of a mother, like this. In this way, we have to go through many roles in our life. They have their exits and entrances, and one man in his lifetime plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. So his act can be divided into 7 parts, 7 stages, 7 pages. At first, the infant. His entrance as a child, when it takes birth from his mother's womb, when it comes out of his mother's womb, it starts mewling and pucking. Mewling and pucking means it is an alarm, it is an announcement of his arrival in this world. It is his first role. He starts playing his first role from very birth. At first, the infant mewling and pucking in the nurse's arms. As soon as it comes, it enters into this life. It starts mewling and pucking, means making an announcement to the world that his arrival is there. He is arrived, or it is arrived, you may say. Then the winning schoolboy. The second stage is schoolboy, winning schoolboy. Then the winning schoolboy with his satchel. Satchel means school bag. Then the winning schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school. Children are very fresh. They look like blooming birds, flowers. But when the matter of school takes place, they are unwilling to go to school. They hesitate. They creep like snail. They are not willing to go to school. So this is the second stage of one's life. And shining morning face, creeping like snail, unwilling to school. Children, they are not willing to go to school. They wish to remain with their parents at home. And then the lover. And the third stage arrives. That is of lover. Infant, schoolboy, and then lover. Lover is a period of one's life, that is, we may say, teenage. Teenage. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like this. Teenage is called the period of lover. We may say, or Shakespeare says, it is third stage, that is lover. And then the lover sighing like furnace means fire. He is very active, hot-blooded, unwilling to listen to any advice. He wishes to do whatever he wishes. He wishes to create his own world. He remains in his separate world, aloof world, imaginary world. And then the lover sang like furnace with a woeful ballad, made to his mistress's eyebrow. Means the child becomes adolescent, young. That is the third stage of lover. He wishes to remain in aloof way. He starts composing poems. He imagines, it may be infatuation for his opposite sex, for his beloved, for his mistress, and he starts listening to the sad songs, starts composing poems, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. So this is the third stage. Now let us see fourth stage, that is of the soldier. Then soldier is the fourth stage of one's life. Soldier means after teenage, 20, 21 roughly, like this. Then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the whole reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. That is very young age, young man. He is ready to accept any kind of challenges. He is not in a position to bear any kind of insults. He accepts all kinds of challenges. He is robust, young, healthy man, hot-blooded, energetic, powerful, and challenging. He becomes ready to go in cannon's mouth. It means he becomes ready to accept even death, but not in a position to accept insults. Then the soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard. The pard means leopard. Very fast, energetic, hot-blooded, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, becomes ready to fight with anybody, seeking the bubble reputation for trivial causes, becomes ready to fight, gets involved in quarrels, seeking the bubble reputation. Bubble reputation means short survival, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth, and becomes ready to accept death also. And then the justice, fifth stage. In a young age, in fourth stage, soldier full of energy and ready to devote himself for any insult, for any unwilling things. And then he enters slowly into the life of a man. We may say a householder. Householder means a person who becomes married. A person who has wife, children, family, and he becomes a responsible person. So fifth stage is justice. Once he crosses the step of the soldier, he enters into the life of fifth stage, or justice, or a gentleman. Fifth stage means man becomes or behaves like a wise person. He tries to show he is wise. He is careful as a son to parents, as a father to his own son, as a husband to his wife, good neighbor, good citizen, and overall gentleman. It means he wants to create his own image in society, with relatives, with friends, and he wishes to behave like a gentleman. He wishes to prove himself a gentleman, a good citizen, a good friend, a good father, a good husband, a good son. It means he fights on different fields. Everywhere he wishes to prove himself good, like a gentleman. And then the justice in fair round belly. Fair round belly means in fair round belly, with good cap on leaned, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. It means in that age one behaves just like a officer or a sophisticated person. He maintains his physical health, his dress, official dress, spectacle, and formal cut of beard. It means his behavior, his looking style, his talking style, everything is in a stereotype way. He tries to show he is a gentleman. In fair round belly, with a good cap on, leaned, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut. As a father, he has to be very strict. As son, he has to be very polite. As husband, he has to manage his family and his wife. He has to make balance. He has to satisfy his sons, his parents, his wife, his friends, his relatives, and even neighbors. Everywhere he tries to bring some equilibrium, balance. So this is the fifth stage of one's life. Everywhere man tries to behave in a balanced way. Full of wise and sad and modern instances, and so he plays his part. It means he has to adjust everywhere. Adjustment takes place in his life. When he was lover, when he was soldier, he was not willing to make any kind of adjustment, not bear any kind of insult. But now, in the fifth stage, one has to make adjustment with insults also. One has to make adjustment with several things, because he understands life is of this kind. Without adjustment, there is no life. So he learns to make adjustment with several things and tries to make balance everywhere. And then the sixth stage, the sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon. You can imagine, after 50, one's body, one's face, one's hair, everything is looks somewhat different, because wrinkles takes place, head becomes bald, and even body parts, they are loosened, slightly loosened. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose, well shaved, a world too wide for his shank and his big manly voice, turning again towards childish treble pipes and whistles in his sounds. It means, in the sixth stage, man is supposed to turn towards old age. He wears spectacles on nose. He loses his smartness. Still he tries to maintain himself. He tries to manage his hair, his clothes, to look somewhat young. But nature excuses nobody. One has to go through this stage also. One cannot jump from this stage. One has to experience this life, this stage of life also. This is the sixth stage, where we hear manly voice whistling from his teeth. There are drips in his teeth, and so his voice comes like whistling. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hole, well shaved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his weak manly voice, turning again towards childish treble pipes and whistles in the sound. So, in the sixth stage, one is supposed to be turned towards old age, losing energy, losing power, and one behaves like a lean person. One has to take support of the stick, or one has to walk slowly, because in that stage a person loses his energy, his power. And then the seventh stage, last sin of all, very old age. Last sin of all, that ends this strange eventful history. Means last phase or last stage of life or seventh stage of life is very old age. Means when we were born or when a child is born, he is unknown of the world. He has to learn everything. Our first announcement of his arrival was his crying, weeping, crying or mewling. In the last stage also, old man, very old man, he forgets everything because he loses control over his brains. He is not in a position to maintain his hair, his body, his clothes. He again behaves just like a child. Last sin of all, that ends this strange eventful history. That ends this strange eventful history. Up to this, he has maintained everything very nicely, but in the last stage, he is not in a position to maintain his earning, his reputation, his relations, because he loses his control over his senses. That ends this strange eventful history in second childishness. So this page is called second childishness. Is second childishness and mere oblivion. So very old is age is nothing but second childishness. Person behaves like a child. We do not allow children to eat much sweet. In the old age also, old people, they are not allowed to eat sweets because of diabetes, and old people, they wish to have sweets. They becomes haughty. In second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, he loses his teeth. In the last phase of one's life, person loses his teeth, sans eyes. Means he cannot see clearly the objects before him. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Means he is not in a position to recognize the touch is either soft or hard, the taste is either sweet or sour. He is not in a position to understand whether the object is beautiful or ugly. It means he loses his teeth, his eyes, his taste and everything. So this is the second childishness of one's life. In this way, Shakespeare has divided one's life in 7 stages. He says, life is nothing, but it is like a drama. We are actors and actresses acting on the stage of life, and we have to perform these different or these 7 roles. Without performing these 7 roles, one cannot complete his life. We cannot jump from 3rd to 5th, 3rd to 6th. We have to go through all these stages, all these phases of life. This way, Shakespeare has divided life into 7 parts. All the world is a stage, and we are merely actors and actresses acting on the stage of life. Thank you.